Hi, welcome to Building SaaS with Python and Django. My name is Matt Lehman, and I am the streamer on this stream where we build Django apps, and we're going to continue on that this evening. I've got a project that last week I talked about maybe not finishing up here, but a week went by and I didn't do anything about it. So what better time than the present to finish out a project and explore something different that we don't normally do on the stream. So we're going to focus a little bit on copywriting tonight, a bit of product documentation probably, things that are definitely part of building a software as a service, which is what we're about. But I normally cover a lot of coding techniques and testing and stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of a change of speed, but it's work that needs to be done and is relevant to anyone building a SaaS project. You're free to ask me anything about Python, Django, or web development. That is the theme of this stream. And you can ask me about emails too, as we have them. Also, if you are watching from YouTube later on, please like, subscribe, comment, do all of those things that makes YouTube happy, that can help this content be discovered by others. I'd really appreciate that. I also want to take a moment to thank my patrons on Patreon. If you want to support me on Patreon, if you like what I'm doing and you can financially support me, that'd be awesome. But I want to thank Rupert, Andrew, a new superhero tier patron named Dragos, and Patrick, Eric, Philip, Miguel, and Peter. So thank you all for supporting me. It really helps out a lot. I appreciate it. Okay. You also have to bear with me tonight. I've got a fruit smoothie, so I'm going to not have my usual water, but that's just what's going on. If you see me sipping from a different kind of cup than normal. But you probably don't care about that very much. Okay. Let's jump to the code. We finished off last time with me stating that we have to build in some email stuff. And I think I was at the point where I need to build the content for the email, if I recall correctly, and get that all going, and then configure a scheduler and do some other stuff. Oh, GitHub's got some cool new UI for task work. That's pretty cool. So we're here. We're at this step of creating the emails, and we've got some text emails that I've created, and they need the copy fleshed out on them. My project is not going to use very fancy emails. Maybe someday I will spruce up the email templates and things, but for today, they are going to be very basic, and that should be totally fine. We'll go through the process of testing those emails, and I'm going to show you the tools that I use to check the look of the emails, to make sure that the text version and the HTML version both work out. And once those emails are complete, we can set this up, make sure that it's going. All this stuff is protected behind a feature flag, so nobody's going to be able to use it yet. But I want this ready to go. And then we can write some of the product documentation that explains how this referral system is going to work. So if you haven't joined me in the past, I'm planning to send out a referral system or include a referral system so that a customer can send an email out to somebody that they are would like to try Schooldesk, the name of the product, and it will send an email. If they sign up, eventually they will offer that person a discount. So that's what we've been working on. Okay, let's open up the send referral. I think I had done something in a text template, and we need to finish it off. All right, so we've got this is text, and this is, it needs to be formatted exactly as it would appear. This is something different about normal templates and normal HTML stuff, is that there's a varying output, but this is a little different for a text template, aside from, of course, where Django template syntax is, where there's replacements. I think I noted on the last stream is that this URL right here, if we rendered this today, would not actually include the domain. So we need to inject that in as context to this template so that we can get the link and not have to do duplication when we get to the HTML part. It's a banana strawberry smoothie, in case anybody's curious. All right, so we have this basic layout here, and this is basically the system that's going to happen. The customer is going to be the one that triggers this, but the email that's being sent out is the recipient on the other side. So the customer puts in an email address that they want to send to. So really, this is the invitation to that person. So I'm thinking through this in terms of from a copywriter's perspective. I want this to be Well, how would I describe this? I'm going to jot some notes here. I guess welcoming is a feeling that I want to go for. Concise. People don't have good attention spans, so that it needs to be really short and sweet, with a clear call to action, CTA. So let me put that out in case you've never seen it before. Call to action. And that's just prompting the user for what do you want them to do, which it's a commonly used expression in building products. So we have a very simple greeting and an exclamation that says that it is telling them why they're receiving the email. That's really important. I don't want to make it feel like I'm just spamming them. It is actually coming from a person. And so I want to be right off the bat saying someone you know, a friend, is sending you a recommendation. In theory, a customer who is sending a referral probably has told the person that they want to refer that it's coming, that they're probably not going to go through their email contact list and just email everybody. So I don't think I need to include anything about the specific person who is doing the sending, which is good because the product, I collect very little information about the actual users. So I have the user's email address, but that's about it. And I don't want to advertise. The customer may not want me to advertise that email address. They might keep that kind of stuff private. And I don't have their name. So the best I can do is it says, something generic of a friend. So that's why I've got that early message. And I think that's going to continue probably. And all right, so step 2 is we've got account sign up here. I don't even think I have that over in the management command. Yep. So I noted that when this resolves, this URL template command, it's going to look something like account, I think it's accounts sign up, something like that. And you can see that there's no domain there. So if somebody's clicking in their email client, that's not going to take them where they need to go. So this is an insufficient use of the URL template. So I want to give them something more specific. And remember, this is the this is the text template. So it will be a literal HTML or HTTP link, hyperlink. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's call it the account sign up link. This doesn't exist. We're going to create this context. You can see it's empty right now. We will build that and put that in the management command. But it is part of the contract that this expects. So let's do this. Let's do this correctly. Before I want to get down the name to be consistent. Go ahead and put that in. And put a comma and yeah, good. So Black did not reformat that for me because I included the comma to basically to say this is I want this formatting. Okay, so trying to think. So we already have the kind of the call to action. Check out the link to sign up for your free trial. And let's do this and say and get started with School Desk. Maybe that's all I want to say. Very simple message, nothing complicated. There's already a prompt for why are they getting it, and there's a simple call to action. And then I think clearly they need some kind of sign off, so I can say, well, I have generally been using my own name to indicate that this is not a big nameless company. This is actually like a person who is doing this product. And that messaging comes through in my onboarding flows. I direct them with my name. In fact, if you go to the School Desk app right now, Hey, Shivens93, welcome back. I'll get your comment in just a second. If you go to the site right now and you go to my about page, it's not like a corporate-y about page. It's like a letter to the person telling them, like, here's what School Desk is about, and it's clearly got my name plastered all over it. So I think I want to use similar kind of language in the emails that I write. So we'll do that in a second. Let me get your comment there, Shivens. Cool, glad you tried out HTMX and you've got a calculator. And when you say it's not responsive, do you mean that it's not working or is now responsive? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. That's really awesome. I'm glad you got that going. That's exciting. Good work. Yeah, HTMX, I've been really pleased with HTMX as a product. Yeah, it is responsive. Good. All right, let's finish this off. You're welcome. I'll finish it with just the standard sign-off that I use on all of my personal emails, frankly. I'll just say regards, and I'll say my name. I don't need to give them my last name at this point, but I will say I'll give myself a title. Did I give myself a title on that about page? I don't know. No, I just said Matt. But there was another place where in the onboarding template, so templates start welcome or something like that. Nope. Templates start course. Let's try this one. Start page. So I also greet them with a kind of similar kind of letter mentality in the very first page that they see. So user flow, as they sign up, they get a link that or a page that says you need to go confirm your account with an email. So that's the typical flow. And then they click the confirmation link in their email and they get dumped to a start page. And that's what this template is right here. And you can see that I've got this sign off here that says my name and founder of School Desk. And so I think what I want to use is I want to continue using the founder of School Desk part as the persona that I want to display. Obviously, I'm the founder, I'm the developer, I'm the tester, I'm all of the things. But this gives them a clear indicator of who's messaging them. What service do I use to send emails? I use SendGrid. I think I might have mentioned this last time, but it's a good reminder, so appreciate the question. I use it in combination with Anymail. Anymail is the Django package that allows you to do this, and I think I talked about this a little bit. With Anymail, you essentially you configure your system by pointing. You add it to your installed apps. You set some details about Anymail, and then you tell Django to use the Anymail backend for your appropriate service. So mine is anymail.backends.sendgrid.email backend. And it works with all those SendGrid credentials and does all the email sending with the API keys and such. So that's my tool of choice. And I picked it because they have a free tier that works for me with really low traffic right now. And when I need to pay for it, it's also proven to be a pretty reliable service. With API keys, how do I store them? Another good question. So let me show you really quickly, and then we'll get back to these email templates. So let me go to my project settings file, and we can find in here SendGrid should be, there it is. So here's my Anymail configuration, and it calls for the SendGrid API key, as you can see. And I have this env function looking thing, which is actually it's actually an object that has a callable, and you give it a string, which is an environment variable key name. So I'm using a tool called Django Environ, which allows you to have this environ import, and it has this env object that reads from your environment variables. And because I'm using it directly as like a function, I don't have to define, this section right here is for defining defaults, but the SendGrid API key is not one that I want to have a default. It doesn't make sense to have a default, so I don't give it one, which means that if I haven't defined that environment variable for my app, then the app will blow up with a key error. It'll say like, I can't find this environment variable in the environment variables dictionary that's available, and so it's a required attribute in that way. So that's how I store the API key. I've got a, so I post a series of articles on Django that some of you may have seen before. I'm not going to do too much shameless self-promotion, but, and I also can't really visit, it's weird, I do have ads on the site, and if I found that if I visit my own site, Google will penalize me, like thinking I'm trying to like spam them with my own ads when I really just want to look at my own site, which is pretty frustrating. But I think I'm running the local development version, and so this is a work in progress. But I have a series called Understand Django, where I write a lot about the Django. It's kind of a story from top to bottom of how you can learn Django. And my next article, sneak preview, is one all about settings management. So I will have that out there in the future. If you want to read that when it comes out, you can go to my website, mattlehman.com, and sign up for my mailing list, and I send it out there. It will also be on the site, of course, if you'd rather not sign up for a mailing list. I totally get it. Although I don't spam people. It's very low volume, only the good stuff. Okay, let's get back to this email generation process, shall we? So we've got our simple message here. We have our why am I writing you? We have the call to action with the account link, and then we have the sign off. So I think that from my point of view, that is the whole email. I want to check, there's another, I've got emails elsewhere. I want to see how I did the HTML email and use that as the basis. I probably should extract this into a base email, so I'm going to pay a penalty here by not doing that. But when I need it in the future, oh, apparently I'm already doing it a little differently in different places. Okay. So let's open up the text version that we just had. And in fact, that's so small, let's put them side by side. Okay. So here we go. We've got the same hello. I want to change it to that. We'll change this content to put that right there. This isn't the cleanest process. There's probably better ways to do this, but this is fine for now. And you can see like it's a lot of the same feel of how I've done this very simple email over here. So we can then say, let's delete that paragraph and let's add in, I'm not going to say Matt from School Desk. I'm going to do the same kind of titling that I did on the other one. And say founder of School Desk. And here we can say what kind of, I might need to rework the copy a little bit. So check out what? Check out the sign up page? No, because the copy says, all right, let's rethink this. Check out the link to sign up for your free trial. What can we say instead? We can say check out, or should we just be direct? Let's say you can sign up, and that'll be where the link text is. Ooh, I'm also noticing some bad pros there. Get started. Okay, you can sign up for your free trial to get started with School Desk. And instead of activate URL, we want to change this to the account signup link. Okay, how does that look? All right, so we now have a link. We've got some text. The copy is a little different because one's email, an HTML that you just have to. I've found I've made a number of HTML and text templates in the past, and I think it's good to be comfortable just reworking the copywriting because sometimes because of just the mode of you with a text template, you're going to see the actual link. You just have to treat it differently as like, here's this object that has to be considered and explained versus with a hyperlink in a standard HTML, it's very evident that it is a hyperlink in their browser. So I don't need to call it out as a thing you have to click or whatever. They can figure that out, or most people can. They know what a hyperlink is. All right, so we have this stuff. The next thing we have to do is what? We need to define this account signup link. And I'm kind of sighing about it because I can never quite remember the best way to do this. So on the other email template that we had that I was just stealing from a second ago. Wow, I'm getting really crazy with this window layout here, but you can still get the idea. This activate URL is actually coming from Django all-auth. And Django all-auth is able to deduce if it is a secure or insecure context. And they do that by having an HTTP request available when they're sending the confirmation link. But this management command, this place where I'm actually running this, and if you didn't join me for the last stream, I'm using a Django management command that I'm going to hook up into the Heroku scheduler that will run on a periodic basis. And there's no web context there. There's no person that's coming to this page and like at that same synchronous time getting the referral email to go out. So I don't have a request that I can use to say, is this secure or insecure? What I need to do though, and maybe what I should just do by default, no, I need to rethink this. All right, what I was about to suggest is maybe I should just use HTTPS by default. And the reason for that is that here's my product. It's called School Desk. The domain, you can notice, is a .app domain. And so .app must be HTTPS. Well, okay. I typed out that message and Twitch didn't like that because it was some kind of command. The .app must be HTTPS. Will it accept that? There we go. Okay. Can't just start a command with a dot. And the reason for that is that I think Google is the registrar or something like that, and they basically have mandated that any website using the .app top level domain must be secure by default, which is really great. Like, it means I can only do this properly, and I can only ever have a secure connection if I don't, the app breaks, and it's going to be on me to make it work. But it means that for my customer's sake, that they get a secure by default experience. So I was thinking about using that for this link and building it up that way. But at the same time, I want to be able to test this out and test that it actually works. And when I'm doing this locally on localhost, I don't have a secure certificate set up, so that's not the right thing to do. I'm trying to think if I've done anything dynamic. I have some examples here where, here's an example where I'm using the fact that the request is secure. and I'm switching on that, and then that's one way there. So can't depend on that. What else could we do? We could, maybe there's something else I can depend upon. Well, actually, this is a good opportunity to go into the code and figure out how request is secure is working. So what can we do? We've got this secure proxy SSL header. I'm trying to see if, I don't remember if I make use of that or not. Let's go back to the settings and look at secure. Maybe I could, yeah, I do set it here. The secure proxy SSL header. I do have that setting. Oh, but that's always going to be a static value. Looking at the way I've got the project settings configured, that's never going to change. So that's not something we can rely on. We could maybe rely on, maybe I just need to create a setting to I can consistently rely on. Or before we do that, let's back up. Let's rethink this. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I'm not the first person to have this problem, no doubt. So let's see if we can search for it. Django. What can I search for? Check HTTPS on local non-web context. I don't know. That's a terrible search. Oh no, this has nothing to do with it. Sometimes you just gotta search for things. So we have the security topic. That's probably a decent place to check. Let's go down to the HTTPS section. I mean, there's probably something I could do. So we've got some settings here that are about security. But they're also about other things. And I'm afraid that I don't want to mix up a setting and make some chunk of code depend on some random other setting that just happens to be in a secure context. I think it doesn't really speak the right meaning. So I think what I want to do instead is maybe put in an explicit setting and that I can essentially define for my application, is it in a secure mode or not, is what I'm going for. So let's do that. And then what I can do, let's try that. So let's come into the settings of this app, and let's give ourselves some more room. And I want to say right here is secure. And I want that to be a Boolean, and I want it to be true by default, because I try and make my application settings reflect the production app as much as possible, because that means that if I deploy to my live site, there's less for me to configure. There's fewer possibilities to make a mistake. And so that means, though, that when I'm working in a different mode, I have to opt in to the more insecure behavior. So I think that's a reasonable way to go. And the next thing that we can do is we can go to the environment example template. This is where I define all of my dev settings. And, these are what you see, some secret keys and stuff here. These are dev only settings, so I'm not scared of showing these off. And we can come in here and we can go to and do it alphabetically. And put in is secure. And we'll say off is the way to do that so that it will be false by the Django environment project that I'm using. So that's that. I need to put it on secret mode for just a second because I have to apply it to the existing environment file that is actually read. The example is just something that I can commit to code, but that's not what actually is the localhost is really reading. So I need to put the equivalent thing in the actual environment file, but I can't show you that one because that one does have actual secret data in it, and I don't want to like show you my SendGrid API key, for example. I'd rather not have people sending me sending emails with my stuff, or have to rotate keys or all that. Okay, so now I have is secure set to false locally. And now that gives me something that I can depend upon in my code that has the right semantic meaning that I want, that allows me to, in these non-web contexts, to do what I want to do. So we can come back to this code and we can say, get rid of that. And we can say the scheme is going to be HTTPS if settings is secure, else it will be HTTP : Okay. I need to import the settings. So from Django conf import settings. And that gives us the scheme, so that's part of this. So we need the scheme. We also need the domain. Oh, geez. How did I did that with the site here? Dang it. Sigh. Well, maybe I can do the same thing. Get current request comes from Django contrib sites shortcuts. Okay. Django contrib sites shortcuts import get current site. I wonder if I can do it without providing a request object though. All right, let's go take a look. We keep digging in tonight, which is good. Sometimes you just gotta explore some stuff. Documentation. Sites framework is what we're looking for. And get current site. Takes a request. It's showing it takes a request here. All right, what am I doing? I got the code. Let's go look at the code. Contrib sites shortcuts. It definitely is taking the request object and it's saying, all right, so it's calling, if it's on, which it will be, get a site object from the request. Okay, let's keep going. We've got the models. Where's get request? Or no, get current, it said. Get current. Now they have here aha. Well, this is very deceptive. So it doesn't actually like really need the request if the site ID is defined. And I know that my site ID is defined. So I think I can do this, but just by passing with request equal none. It's going to look pretty weird, but it should work. Okay. So we want site is equal to get current site request equal none. Yeah, that looks very gnarly. And then we need the URL. The URL we'll get from a reverse on account signup, I think it is. All right, so now we have all the pieces. We can do an F string and we can say scheme and site, and URL. And we guess we need one more. We need the actual reverse lookup. So let's go to where? Reverse is that a shortcut or is that in URLs? I think it's in URLs. If I'm wrong, we'll find out quickly. Django URLs import reverse. Reverse. Import. Yep, there it is. Okay. So we have got everything that I think we need. Man, that is a ton of work though to get that kind of stuff. That's pretty ridiculous. There's maybe an argument for me for my app to refactor that and pull out that thing as a function that I could use in a future place. Because that just seems silly to do that anytime that I want to do a full lookup. We'll do one step at a time. We'll use that as it is, make sure that it's actually producing the right URL, and then we'll extract it into a little function that I can use over and over. Because I think I will need it in the future. All right, so what do we need to do? The to-do is done. We want to check the test. Yep. And so let's go to the actual test that we had. We want to test it's in the test command. And I just want to see that it still actually sends, that we didn't blow it up. Whoops, blew it up. Settings object has no attribute is secure. You're right, it doesn't. And I screwed up. Okay, and I know exactly where I screwed up. All I did was I defined it in the environment. I did not define it in the actual settings. So the env object knows about this thing, but the application itself doesn't. So let's come down to this area where I have like actual app settings. So I can grouped it as Django settings and then third-party settings, and then I have this app settings. So let's put it here and say, is the app in a secure context or not? So is secure equals env is secure. All right, let's try running the test command again. Oh, okay. Yep. I took a guess at the reverse. It's wrong. I believe it's actually an underscore. I think Django all-auth does not actually have namespace of any kind. They just prefix everything. So it's not account : sign up. It is account underscore sign up. Okay. We've got a passing test command. Cool. We've got the new setting in there. That's also cool. And I think now we might be ready to actually try it out. So let's do a couple things. Yeah, let's do a couple things. So we can, what can we do? I'm going to have to run a management command with a certain email parameter. So that we've got, I have this mode where I can say email testing. And by setting that variable, it's going to turn on the app for a mode that will send email to an actual a local email SMTP server. And I have such a local email SMTP server with a program called MailHog. So MailHog will run. It's going to run on port 1025. And there is a little app that we can look at on 8025 here. So essentially there's a server that's listening, and it's displaying to this client here that are connected. This is a good way to test out emails. And so what I need to do is two things, I guess. I want to make sure that there's actually a referral that can be sent out. And what will happen is it will send the referral to this SMTP server, this local web server. Sorry, it's not a web server, this local SMTP server, which is an email server. And that is email server was just going to like display whatever it got. So we should see that it as if we sent it to somebody else and what they would have seen. So we need to run that command, but we also need to make sure that there's actually a referral in place first. So let's do that. Let's bring up the actual site and head over to the site. I'm going to replace the live site with the test one. And we'll go over to the Django admin and look at the referral section. And they're both in the sent state, so that's not going to work. So we need to switch this one. We need to actually go into it. We need to put it in a pending state. This is the state that it will actually send something out. And I'm going to say save and continue editing. I'm going to leave this up because we're going to try this multiple times potentially, and I want to be able to reset this pretty easily. So let's open up a new tab. Let's activate our virtual environment, and we're going to say email. Was it email testing? Yep. Email testing is true, and we want to run the management command. The management command is called send referrals. It doesn't take any parameters. And what this should do is send one email. And it says it sent it. That's great. Now if we go over to MailHog, here it is. And we've got, I might have already messed this up. Oh no, I did put in the subject, so that's good. Subject is right there. A friend has invited you to try School Desk. And here we have the actual HTML content. So you can see the thing we just wrote. It's a very simple email. There's not a lot going on there. And that's probably, if I do make a fancier template in the future, it would probably be to use a different font, kind of just clean up, maybe add some coloring that's more aligned with what the actual application uses. But I don't like super image heavy emails, so I never really want to do that. I just want it to look classy, I guess, is what I'm going for, and simple, because again, the whole message of the app is simple. So if I hover over this, the link you can see in the corner is for Port 5000 account sign up. And so let's click that. And I was already logged in, so it redirected me. The sign up page redirects me to the actual app. So there was nothing to see there. I could log out, but that would be a pain because then my admin wouldn't work, and it went to the right place. It just did a redirect. Does it show the redirect? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's fine. So I'm convinced though that link is correct. And then we've also got, well, here's the full link. It's just proof positive that the link that I built is exactly what I expected it to be. It's using the HTTP scheme. It's using the site that is defined here, which is coming from an object that is defined. And if I went to the real app, you could see it, but I'll show it on the Django admin here. So the site's framework has an object that allows you to define the domain. Ooh, that's a good thing. I should go check out the real thing. I should need to make sure this is right. And it says that for a local host, it's on 000 port 5000, which is what I use for my testing. On the real site, it should be www.theschooldesk.app, and I want to confirm that right now. I gotta be careful. Actually, you know what? I don't know what I might stumble upon, so I'm gonna just put it on secret mode for a minute. I'm gonna check the real thing to confirm that it is what I want it to be. but I don't want you to actually accidentally see like customer info. I don't expect you would, but yeah, best to play it safe there. Okay, I can show you this now. There's nothing really. Well, yeah, there's still some sensitive stuff on here. The domain name, I'll just verbally confirm it, is www.theschooldesk.app, which is what I want it to be. So it should produce the links that I expect. Okay. And all I saw was virtually the same thing here, and I just wanted to not show off more than I needed to. So we've got this very simple email. It's all done. The link is correct. I've seen it in both places. I don't even think I want to write more of a test than that. Like this test, I'm not checking the content. Maybe I could be. Maybe I should be. I don't know. I could like dig into SendMail and see that the overall URL is in there, but I don't think I want to do that. So instead, what are we going to do? I'm going to call that done, which is great. And we're going to do a little bit of refactoring now to get out the URL. So we will test this a little bit here. And so the way I want to treat this is, well, how can I treat this? I can write this function for now such that it just expects the route name. So in this case, account sign up. That's going to fall over though if I ever need to actually pass along the args and keyword args that go into route. Maybe I will do that in the future, but for now I'll just keep the function simple and make it serve my needs, and then make this more advanced in the future. Okay, so we don't need MailHog anymore. We're done with that. And we can come back over here and do this refactoring. So where do I want to put this? Good question. I think this is kind of a core utility. So I have a core app. And the core app is for stuff that is core to all the apps, like a shared kind of functionality. And this feels like that to me. And this is essentially, what am I trying to make here? What is the function name that I'm trying to capture? And really what I'm trying to go for is it's a reverse function, but it is a full URL reverse. I think that's probably what I want to call it. So I think what maybe I could do, well, I can't reuse URLs, even though that would be the most logical name, because that's what it's called over here. It's from Django URLs, but the core app already has a URLs file, and it's different. It's the actual set of routes. So what's a better, maybe site? I don't know. I don't want to think too hard about the naming here. We'll call it site because that's kind of what it's going for. It's like a function that is for in the site context of the whole website. And so we'll say full URL reverse. And this is the URL name. Generate a URL that includes scheme and domain name. Site name, to kind of hint that it comes with the sites framework. Okay. Then we can take the code that's over here and plop it right there. You can see it's missing a bunch of stuff. So we'll fix up the imports. It's missing settings. It is missing get current site. it's missing reverse. And then it needs to return return that f string of scheme site URL. Okay. Now, in this area, we can call this function. So we can say from homeschool core site import full URL reverse. And then we will replace this, all of this code right here with full URL reverse of account sign up. And then we can delete these three, which then means that those things that we just imported a little while ago are no longer needed. I think that has a nice effect there. It does the cleanup. We can go check really quickly that this still worked. We can say, I refresh this page, is it sent? So put it back to pending. And this time what I'm going to do is run the management command. Manage, send referrals. And we're not going to go see through MailHog this time, but it will use the console email backend, which is what my localhost settings are set to do. So we should be able to find the URL in here, just to confirm visually that it didn't change. And it didn't. It's still there. So that refactoring was good. Probably should have a test for this. Yeah. I think we're done with the actual command for now. So let's write a test for this. So core tests, test views, that's fine. And we'll say test site. We'll make a new class from homeschool test, import test case, class test full URL reverse, which is going to subclass from test case. And we can do what? Test builds URL. The utility builds a URL that includes the site and the scheme and site. So I want to use, I want to do from homeschool core site import full URL reverse. And the test is going to be probably a one-liner. Well, we can give it we can do 2. So full URL reverse, and we'll give it terms, like the terms and conditions site. That's a page that's not going to go away. And I want to assert that the actual value, URL, is equal to http:, I don't know what site is going to be for the test stuff, but it should be something like that. All right, that's going to fail unless I happen to guess it right. Example.com. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, there's a bug. The bug is that I didn't actually connect full URL reverse to what it's supposed to be connected to, which means that the send referrals thing that I did is not right. Account sign up. Well, it's right in that it just happened to have the right value, but this is why we write test, because that was wrong. So it's not site.com, it's example.com. That'll still fail. So we need to change the actual function. Instead of this, we want to be URL name. Great. So I hard-coded this for a reason. And the reason is that I always expect my test to run in an insecure context. I'm not going to set up asserts and HTTPS for that. So it's always going to be HTTP. The example.com, I'm pretty sure that comes from the PyTest Django setup. I believe it does a site auto use fixture. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think that's where it comes from, example.com. I don't think I defined that myself. Yeah, it's coming from somewhere else. And the actual terms part, the last part of the URL, is a page that I have great confidence that will be there. So that was a pretty easy test to write. Let's take a look. And I think that might finish off this feature. Finish it off functionally. There's more to do, but it's a good start. So let's add all of these. Let's take a look at the diff before we commit. Oh man, I forgot I have the README in there. Git restore README. No, git restore staged README. Okay. That's from other stuff that I just don't really feel like explaining right now. So we added this new setting to the example. We've got this new utility function and core site. And it builds the URL that we want. We've got a test for it. That's great. That gives us coverage for it. And here's our command. So last time we actually did the rendering of the template. So we didn't cover that today, but that's what's happening here. So the content is being rendered by picking the template and picking the two versions, passing in the context. The context has the account signup link, which has that full reversal. And we replaced the message of the email with the real message and the HTML with the real HTML stuff. Whoops, that students view, I don't want to commit that either. I'll remove that in just a second. That's from some other work that I was doing. We added a new setting for is secure that will be secure by default, which is what the app expects to be. We've got our HTML version of this email, which we saw. It's pretty simple, but it worked. And we've also got the text version. So let me do git restore staged and then say homeschool students. We don't want to commit that part either. Whoops, not stages, staged. Okay, leaving those two files alone, but otherwise we're good. So this will clear out this second task. We'll say create referral emails. And this is for issue 399. Okay, I didn't run the actual coverage, so let's do that. And we should be able to get as far as actually like deploying this out to the site. I will try. I might have to put it in like a private mode for a minute to get to the actual right page on Heroku. But I'm going to try and get up the Heroku scheduler and see if I can show you what that interface looks like. If I get to that page and it's got too much sensitive data on it, I'll just say sorry. But I'm at least going to try and complete the full arc of this feature. But before I actually deploy, I want to make sure my tests are passing locally. GitHub is probably running this too right now. Well, no, they aren't because I haven't actually pushed it up. I think everything should be working with full coverage. Yep. Okay. So we can run, I've got a makefile target to deploy. And what this is going to do is going to push out this new send referrals command to Heroku. It's going to take a minute. It's got to build. There's actually 3 stages to my deployment process, and I can talk through them while it's going through. The first thing it's doing is actually building the CSS stuff for Tailwind. And so it starts up a Node.js Heroku build pack, and that does everything and actually installs npm packages, and then just runs the Tailwind command that I gave it to actually build my CSS file for my site so that I don't ship a huge CSS bundle. It's optimized. It's only 32 kilobytes. Then after that, it moves on to the actual blog on the site, which is a static blog that is built with Hugo. And so I use a Hugo build pack that is community supported, but has been really reliable for me. You can see it's already done. It takes, Hugo is so fast. Built the whole site in a couple of seconds. And then here we are with the Python stuff. So the Hugo part doesn't do any like compression on it, on the generated files. But I wanted to have that compression to make it more efficient for my web server. So I hooked into the Python build pack, and it takes all of the files that were from the build output of the Heroku step, and I believe it also is going to take the build output of my documentation site, and it's going to run them all through compression and try and make optimized versions of that, so that when it comes time to actually serve those static pages with my regular Django web server using white noise, those will be served as efficiently as possible. The last thing it has to do is put together the entire artifact that Heroku uses. They call it a slug, is the output. And the slug is the thing that gets installed into the Heroku servers. That's the actual app that runs. So it did that. It's 158 megabytes worth of stuff. And it runs a final release command before it actually puts that thing live. And that release command runs my Django migrations. So if I have any new code that is expecting a new migration to be applied, a new column or whatever, before that code goes live, the migrations run to make sure that the database is prepared for that. So that's the process. The site should now be live. We can go visit it, check it out. Here it is. And I'm going to switch it quickly into the secret mode again and bring up Heroku. Get to my actual app. And it's making me log in, blah, blah, blah. Click on some stuff. I'm just in my app, not really doing anything, talking through it. And when I'm on my app, in the overview page, I'll describe it here, there's a section of like showing you what add-ons you have. And I have a deploy hooks add-on that sends information to Slack. I have my Postgres database, and then I have an add-on called the Heroku scheduler. And the scheduler is, yeah, this should be fine to show. The scheduler is where you can configure things that you want to run on a schedule. So you can see I'm currently only running 2 things on a schedule. And I'm doing this in lieu of a background task process for now, because that would be yet another machine that I'd have to be running constantly to do background task work, and I just don't have a need for that. So you can see I've got an expire trials command for exactly what it sounds like, and this is clearing sessions. So I'm using database back sessions in Django, and periodically you want to clean up that table so it doesn't have too many rows in it. And what it does is it clears out sessions that have reached an expired date in their record. But that's not what we really care about. We want to add a new job. The job we want to add is we want to run it. Let's see. I want to run it not every hour. Let's try this. Can I do, man, every hour? That's not what I want. That's a bummer. I was hoping that you could do, I'd forgotten there was this, I thought it was more like a cron syntax that allowed you to do something more specific. Do I want this to run every hour? Okay, let's think through this. It's quick, but the reason that the scheduler is free, this is a free add-on, is the add-on works, they make money with this by using compute time for your whatever scheduled tasks that you have. And yeah, if I run it every hour, that is 24 times a day that it will run, which is pretty insignificant, but it does start to add up. Even though it's quick, it would probably be just a few seconds, but a few seconds times 24 times every day, that does add up to a little bit. And frankly, at this stage of this, I don't think I need that. I think every day should be sufficient. So I'm going to say every day, and we'll do every day at, let's see, that says daily at that UTC time. So we'll do, I don't know, 6 in the morning. Sure, why not? TCK3, what am I building? I'm building a homeschool application for, so we homeschool my kids. I have 2 kids, and my wife is the primary teacher, and she wanted a scheduling tool. So this is a scheduling tool that builds, she feeds it a schedule of tasks that she wants to do. And the thing that I wrote was a pretty dynamic scheduler that says like, okay, it's Monday. You need to do this, this, and this to get everything done. And it has features to know like what days of the week should a class run on. So if she's not doing science on a certain day of the week with my kids, then it won't show up on the task list. So that's kind of what it's about. All right, getting back to the job. So I'm going to let it run for every day, just one time, and that should be okay for now, as long as we really communicate that. And if I want to change it in the future, I can just update the documentation to say that it will do something else. So we'll say manage.py, send referrals. I think that was the name of the command. Let's verify that. Manage, send referrals. Yep. It's going to run at the hobby tier. It's going to run there, and we'll just say save. So there aren't going to be any referrals yet because the feature's not activated yet, and this hasn't run yet. So this will start running, and I could go check that output later. But that's where that is. All right, so let's close out of Heroku. We're done here. And I think what that does, I think that finishes off this feature. So we got the emails created, we got the scheduler done. Let's actually push up the code. That would be a good thing. So there should be an association that would pop here on this issue in a second. Maybe I need to refresh the page. There it is. And we're done. So let's close it. Okay. So I just took over an hour to build some emails, so I actually don't think I really want to get into another one. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. Probably a good place to stop. So the next time, what we'll focus on, if I haven't done it, and this project has not been a super pressing priority, at least on the code front, I've been trying to do some marketing stuff behind the scenes, but that's a different topic, is to document this. So I need to explain how this referral process works. If I'm in the actual app right now, let's show the app locally and not use the real site. Let's use the local site. So I've got the referral feature here, refer a friend. That's a good reminder. Document. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I just saw something that's like, if I forget that, that'd be pretty embarrassing. Update the template to point to the docs. That's what I was missing. So we see this template section here where they provide their email, they click the button, and it sends the thing. If you were on the live site right now, this is all behind a feature flag. So somebody else seeing the site, they would actually see something different. Let's take a look at what that looks like when it's off. So that is now off. We've refreshed the page and that section is gone. So this is what it currently looks like. And I don't want to turn this feature on yet until the documentation is there and available so that people can understand what it is. So we will write that documentation. I also want to have an announcement. The Django admin is truly a glorious thing. Like the thought of having to build an admin, or I hear about other projects that just use like a SQL, not even a database shell. That just sounds horrible to me. So it's really, really nice. So that flag will continue to be off on my live site for now. And once I have this documented and have also a product post planned and set out and announced, I will turn on the actual feature for all of my users so that they can try it. Wow, they're really like pushing this task list thing. Like what? I don't understand. Anyway, that's where I'm going. So that's what we'll try next time. So I want to thank you all for joining in this stream. Hopefully you learned something along the way. And I will take this content and I'll post it up on YouTube. So if you want to find something that, or maybe you joined in later and you didn't see the earlier part, the content usually goes up on YouTube about within 24 hours or so after the stream. And if you're over there, you can give me a like or subscribe. If you're here, you want and have enjoyed it, please consider following me. I would appreciate that. And with that, I'll wish you all a good evening. Take care.